Some places in the world are magnetic. You keep drawing back to them. Each time you visit, you bring back a piece with you. You bring back friendships, warm memories, new smiles. New prints in your core memory. You bring back sense, feelings, and knowledge. You bring back love. Love for that place and for what it's protecting. What you've experienced, what you've learned, and who you met. You come back with a love for life. This 400-hectare reserve is located on the southern flanks of the Talamanca mountain range in Costa Rica, where warm, humid air from the ocean is pushed against the mountains and condensed into clouds. The specific altitude and geographical conditions make that this mountain range is one of the few places left on Earth to sustain primary cloud forest. Characteristic to this kind of forest is the thriving of epiphytes. Basically, plants growing on top of plants. They rely on humid air for their water and nutrient supply. Together with the canopy tree leaves, the abundance of this type of vegetation catches the water from the clouds and redirects it to the ground below. It is one of the world's most remarkable contributions to the hydrological cycle. Cloud forests are among the most biodiverse ecosystems in the world. Hundreds of species of amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and birds grace the reserve with their presence, including the mythical quetzal, tapir, and the jaguar. Getting to the reserve is an adventure by itself. While the last road up the mountain becomes steeper and less frequented, it gradually disappears into a trail. You are welcomed by the local custodian, Pancho, and by the taste of paradise. The reserve is an old family farm that the new generation is actively developing with local materials and help from the local communities. It's also a breeding ground for ideas, connections, and a transfer of knowledge. The reserve is a huge and admirable effort in the conservation of biodiversity. And if this wasn't enough, it's also a gateway to one of the giants of Costa Rica, Cerro Uran. With an altitude of 3,660 meters above sea level, reaching the top is a challenging hike. From the reserve, we'll climb to a refuge called Paso de los Indios, located at the edge of the cloud forest. It's the ideal vantage point to reach the summit the next day.
Bueno, voy caminando con cuidado.
While climbing up the valley to the western ridge, you quickly realize that the overwhelming magic at the base was just one layer of the cake. Above the cloud forest, the new world appears. A new ecosystem with a new collection of views. We enter the pluvial subalpine paramo. Despite being in the tropics, temperatures can fall well below freezing point. In this harsh environment, the tree line makes way for a variety of low-growing shrubs, grasses, and mosses. These plants have an extraordinary capability to hold water. They often display rosette structures, and their leaves are thick with waxy surfaces to reduce the water loss. In recent years, climate change and human land use have put immense pressure on this type of ecosystem, leading it to be under threat of extinction. Being a huge provider of water for much of the countryside below, the warming of these high-altitude areas would have grave and widespread consequences. This shows that the conservation effort of the reserve is of utmost importance. By now, the rhythmic pulse of her breath and the cadence of her footsteps replace the ticking of any clock. Seconds, minutes and hours are blurred into moments. If it wasn't for the sun swaying overhead from horizon to horizon, you'd be led to believe that time indeed ceased to exist. It's on adventures like these, when you expose yourself to nature's truth, you get a new perspective. It disposes your mind of all the clutter, and that makes space for a type of attention that is different. It's to see the world as sharp as you ever will, to hear the true sound of silence, to feel the earth beneath your feet, to smell the fresh scent of nature and to taste the air. Experiencing each moment with all your senses fully alive, pure and simple. When you arrive to the top, to the cherry on the cake, you indulge it all. You experience all the magical moments from below all at once. And that's when you realize you're not just bringing home memories, but you're leaving a part of yourself behind.